My parents took my car keys at dinner. Just like that, right there in front of everyone, my younger brother smirking into his plate, my aunt pretending not to notice, my grandmother's fork frozen halfway to her mouth. My mother's hand shot across the table, palm up, eyes cold as January rain. Give them to me, Amber, not a request, a command. And my father just nodded, like I was some rebellious teenager who just wrapped the family sedan around a telephone pole. Except I'm 24 years old, I bought that car with my own money, and I hadn't done a single thing wrong. The humiliation burned through me like acid, but you know what the worst part was? They thought they'd won. They thought taking those keys meant they had control. They forgot one tiny, crucial detail. The spare key was with me. And that's when everything changed. Because sometimes the people who think they know you best are the ones who underestimate you the most. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been the one they overlooked, the one they dismissed, stay with me. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me if you've ever had to prove yourself to the people who should have believed in you all along. Because this story, it's about to get wild. Let me take you back to the beginning. 3 months before that dinner, I'd finally done it. I'd saved enough money working double shifts at the hospital. I'm a pediatric nurse, which sounds noble until you factor in the pay, and I bought my first car. Not new, but new to me. A silver Honda Civic, 2019, clean interior, no weird smells, and it was mine. Completely legally, beautifully mine. I cried when I drove it off the lot, not because I'm overly emotional, okay, maybe I am, but because it represented something bigger: freedom, independence, proof that I could take care of myself. My parents didn't cry. They barely looked up from their phones when I pulled into the driveway that first day, horn honking, smile so wide my face hurt. "That's nice, honey," my mother said absently, scrolling through Facebook. My father glanced out the window. "You sure you can afford the insurance?" That was it. No congratulations, no "we're proud of you," just doubt wrapped in a question I hadn't asked for. But I was used to it by then. See, in my family, there's a hierarchy. At the top, my younger brother Marcus, 21, still living at home, still figuring out what he wants to be when he grows up, which apparently involves playing video games until 3 a.m. and leaving cereal bowls on every available surface. He's the golden child, the one who can do no wrong. When he drops out of his third community college class, it's because he's still finding his path. When I worked full-time through nursing school, it was because, well, what else would you do? Then there's me, the responsible one, the one who moved out at 19, paid my own way, never asked for anything, the one they somehow forgot to worry about because I always landed on my feet. Until I didn't. The trouble started 6 weeks before the dinner. I'd driven home for Sunday brunch, a family tradition I'd stupidly maintained despite every instinct screaming at me to fake the flu. My mother makes these elaborate spreads: French toast, bacon, fresh fruit arranged in those Pinterest-perfect patterns. It's her stage, and we're her audience, expected to applaud on cue. Marcus was late, as usual. He stumbled in at noon, reeking of whatever party he'd been at the night before, and collapsed into his chair. "Rough night, sweetie," my mother cooed, already fixing him a plate. "You have no idea, Mom," he groaned dramatically. "Jake's car broke down, so I had to Uber home, cost me like $60. My father looked up from his newspaper. "Why didn't you call us?" "It was late, didn't want to bother you." My mother's hand flew to her chest like he'd just announced he'd donated a kidney. "You're never a bother, baby, never." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted copper. I'd called them 2 months ago when my shift ran late and my car battery died in the hospital parking lot at midnight. You know what my father said? "Can't you call AAA? We're already in bed." But Marcus gets a parade for not wanting to wake them. I was pushing eggs around my plate, trying to swallow my resentment along with the French toast, when Marcus dropped the bomb. "So, I've been thinking," he said, in that casual way people use when they're about to ask for something unreasonable. "I really need a car, like desperately. I can't keep Ubering everywhere, it's killing my budget." "What budget?" I almost screamed. "The money our parents gave him, the allowance he got for existing." My mother lit up like Christmas morning. "That's so mature of you, Marcus, recognizing what you need. What did you have in mind?" He shrugged. "I don't know, something reliable, doesn't have to be fancy." And then, and I swear this happened, my father looked directly at me. "Amber, you have a car." The room tilted. "Yeah, I do." "Marcus needs one." 3 words spoken like a fact, not a question. I laughed, actual laughter, the kind that comes out when your brain can't process what it's hearing. Okay, so he should buy one like I did. My mother's smile thinned. Don't be selfish, Amber, you have a car, you don't need two. I don't have two, I have one, the one I bought with my money. Money isn't everything, my father said, in that pompous tone he uses when he's about to deliver life advice he hasn't actually lived. Family is, and family helps each other. Then you buy him a car, you're his parents. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. My mother set down her fork very carefully. We already helped you with college. No, you didn't, I took out loans, I'm still paying them back. We gave you a place to live until you were 19. That's called being a parent. My voice cracked. I could feel it happening, the old pattern, me getting emotional, them getting calm, using my feelings as proof that I was irrational. Marcus, to his credit, looked uncomfortable. Guys, it's fine, I'll figure something out. But my mother wasn't done. Amber, we're not asking you to give him the car, we're asking you to share, just until he gets on his feet. He is on his feet, he just doesn't want to use them to walk to a job. My father stood up, conversation over. We'll discuss this when you're ready to be reasonable. And just like that, I was the problem, not Marcus for being 21 and unemployed, not them for trying to give away my property, me for refusing to set myself on fire to keep my brother warm. I left without finishing my food. I sat in my car, my beautiful, hard-earned car, and cried angry tears that left mascara tracks down my cheeks. I should have known then, should have seen where this was heading. But I didn't. For the next few weeks, they launched a campaign. It was subtle at first. My mother would call just thinking about Marcus. He had to turn down a job interview because he couldn't get there, so sad. My father would text, saw a young man waiting for the bus today in the rain, made me think of your brother. Marcus himself never asked. In fact, he avoided me, which somehow made it worse, like I was the villain in a story I hadn't agreed to be part of. Then my aunt got involved. Aunt Caroline, my mother's older sister, the family mediator, the one they wheel out when they need backup. She invited me to coffee. I hear there's some tension, she said, stirring her latte with the tiny stick like she was diffusing a bomb. There's really not, they want my car, I said no, that's pretty much it. Your mother's worried about you. I nearly choked on my cappuccino, worried about me. She thinks you're becoming hardened, that the stress of living alone, working so much, it's changing you. It's called growing up, Aunt Caroline. She just wants you to remember where you come from. Family takes care of each other. Family doesn't steal from each other either. Her face pinched. That's harsh, Amber. Is it? Because I bought that car, me, not them, and now they want to give it to Marcus because, what? Because he's their favorite, because I'm supposed to be the one who sacrifices. You've always been so independent, maybe they just want you to need them sometimes. That stopped me cold, so this is a test to see if I'll come crawling back. She didn't answer, which was answer enough. I left the coffee shop angrier than I'd arrived, because now I understood this wasn't about the car, it was about control, about putting me back in my place, reminding me that no matter how far I ran, they could still reach me. Well, I had news for them. They could try. The dinner invitation came 2 weeks later. My mother called, voice dripping with honey. Amber, sweetheart, we're having a family dinner this Saturday. Your grandmother's coming. I'm making your favorite pot roast. Please say you'll come. I should have said no. Every cell in my body screamed trap. But my grandmother was going to be there. Grandma Jean, the only person in my family who'd ever looked at me and seen me, not just a role to fill. She'd been sick recently, nothing serious, just age catching up, and I missed her. Fine, I said, but I'm not discussing the car. Of course not, honey, this is just family time. I hung up feeling uneasy, but I shoved it down. Maybe I was being paranoid, maybe they really had let it go. Spoiler, they hadn't. Saturday arrived gray and cold, the kind of November day that makes you want to hibernate. I almost canceled 3 times, but each time I pictured my grandmother's disappointed face and guilt-tripped myself into the shower. I dressed carefully, not too nice, I didn't want to look like I was trying, but not too casual either. I settled on jeans and a sweater, my hair in a ponytail, minimal makeup, armor disguised as comfort. The drive to my parents' house took 20 minutes. 20 minutes of my stomach churning, my hands gripping the steering wheel, practicing conversations in my head. If they bring up the car, I'll stay calm. If they gang up on me, I'll leave. If Marcus. I didn't let myself finish that thought. Their house looked the same as always. Two-story colonial, perfectly manicured lawn, my mother's seasonal wreath on the door, currently a cornucopia of fake fall leaves. The American dream preserved in vinyl siding and judgment. I parked on the street, not in the driveway. Exit strategy. Marcus's friend's car was there, of course. He'd probably gotten a ride, another reminder of his vehicular inadequacy. I grabbed the bottle of wine I'd brought, expensive because I'm petty, and headed for the door. My mother answered before I could knock, like she'd been watching through the window. "Amber, you're here." She pulled me into a hug that felt like a wrestling hold. Come in, everyone's in the dining room." The house smelled like rosemary and beef and something else I couldn't identify, anticipation maybe, or dread. The dining room was a stage set for disaster. My father at the head of the table, already seated, Marcus to his right picking at his phone, Aunt Caroline across from him smiling that tight smile, and at the far end in the chair usually reserved for special occasions, my grandmother. "Amber," she reached for me and I went to her, burying my face in her shoulder for just a second, breathing in her perfume, Chanel No. 5, the same since 1982. "Hi, Grandma. Let me look at you." She pulled back, studying my face. "You look tired, sweetheart." "I work a lot." "Too much," but she squeezed my hand and I felt anchored. I took the empty seat conveniently between Marcus and Aunt Caroline, surrounded on all sides, and poured myself a very large glass of wine. Dinner started normally enough. My mother brought out the pot roast and we passed dishes in that choreographed way families do. My father asked Marcus about school. He'd re-enrolled, apparently in online classes this time. Marcus mumbled something vague. My grandmother told a story about her neighbor's cat. I laughed in the right places, nodded, played my part. I was starting to think I'd been wrong, that maybe this really was just dinner. And then my mother cleared her throat. "So," she said brightly, "we wanted to talk about something, as a family." My fork stopped halfway to my mouth. "Marcus has some wonderful news, tell them, honey." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "It's not that big a deal." "He got a job," my mother announced like he'd just won a Nobel Prize, "at that new coffee shop downtown, starts Monday." Aunt Caroline clapped, my father nodded approvingly, my grandmother smiled. I waited. "The only issue," my mother continued, her voice taking on a rehearsed quality that made my skin crawl, "is transportation. The bus doesn't run that early and it's too far to walk." "Oh no. Oh no. We've been thinking," my father said, taking over the tag team routine, "about the most fair solution." My grandmother was looking between us, confusion creeping into her expression. She didn't know, they hadn't told her what this dinner was really about. "Amber," my father continued, "you work at the hospital. You could easily carpool with other nurses or take the bus. You have options." "Marcus doesn't," my mother added quickly. "And this job, it's such a great opportunity for him. We can't let him lose it because of something as simple as a car." The room was spinning. They'd planned this. The dinner, the timing, the audience, my grandmother as emotional leverage, Aunt Caroline as backup, Marcus as the sympathetic victim. And me as the villain if I refused. "No," I said quietly. My mother blinked, "Sorry." "No, I'm not giving Marcus my car, I'm not sharing it, I'm not carpooling. The answer is no." My father's jaw tightened. "Amber, be reasonable." "I am being reasonable. I bought that car, I pay the insurance, I pay for gas, maintenance, everything, it's mine." "We're not asking you to give it to him," my mother said, her voice hardening. "We're asking you to help your brother. Then you help him, you buy him a car, you pay for his Uber, you drive him, but you don't get to volunteer my things." Marcus was staring at his plate, face red. Aunt Caroline looked like she'd bitten into a lemon. My grandmother reached for my hand under the table, but I pulled away. I couldn't afford comfort, not now. This is exactly what I was afraid of, my mother said, her voice breaking in that way that means she's about to cry, which means I'm about to be the bad guy. You've become so selfish, Amber, so cold I don't even recognize you anymore. Maybe you never did. My father stood up. That's enough. You're right, it is. I stood too, grabbing my purse. I'm leaving. Amber, my grandmother started. But my mother cut her off. If you leave, you're proving everything we said, that you care more about things than people, that you've forgotten what family means. I turned to face her and something inside me cracked open. All the years of being overlooked, being expected to understand, being told I was too sensitive, too demanding, not enough and too much all at once, it poured out. You want to know what family means? It means showing up. It means being there when someone's battery dies at midnight, not telling them to call AAA. It means celebrating when they buy their first car, not immediately trying to give it to someone else. It means seeing them, Mom, actually seeing them, and you've never seen me, not once. Silence. My father's voice was ice. Give me your keys. I laughed. Excuse me. Your car keys, give them to me. Until you can act like part of this family, you don't get to benefit from what we've given you. You haven't given me anything. We gave you life. And I've been paying you back ever since. My mother's hand shot across the table. Give me the keys, Amber. And there it was, the moment that would change everything. I could have fought harder, could have argued, could have stormed out and never looked back. Instead, I reached into my purse, pulled out my keyring and placed the car key in my mother's palm. Her fingers closed around it triumphantly. My father nodded, satisfied. Marcus wouldn't meet my eyes. Aunt Caroline looked relieved. And my grandmother looked heartbroken. There, I said, my voice steady despite the rage shaking through me, happy. My mother actually smiled. See, was that so hard? Now we can have a nice dinner. I picked up my wine glass and drained it, set it down carefully, looked each of them in the eye. I need some air, I said. I walked out of the dining room, through the kitchen, out the back door into the cold November night. I stood on the deck, breathing hard, watching my breath make clouds in the darkness. They thought they'd won. They thought taking that key meant something. They forgot the spare. The spare key that was, at that exact moment, in my jacket pocket. The spare key I'd had made the week after I bought the car, just in case. The spare key that would let me walk to my car, parked on the street, and drive away from this nightmare. But I didn't move, not yet. Because something occurred to me, standing there in the cold, humiliated and furious, and so done. They'd underestimated me for the last time. And it was time to show them exactly who I was. I pulled out my phone and made a call. Hey, I said when she answered, it's me. Remember when you said if I ever needed anything you'd be there? I need you now. My best friend Katie's voice came through, steady and sure. I'm on my way, where are you? I told her, then I walked back inside. They were eating pot roast, laughing about something Marcus said, like nothing had happened, like they hadn't just tried to steal from me. I sat down. Feeling better? My mother asked sweetly. Much, I said. And I waited. Because in 20 minutes Katie would pull up outside, and in 20 minutes I would walk out that door, get in my car that I'd start with my spare key and drive away. But they didn't know that yet. They were still eating, still celebrating their victory, still so certain they'd won. My grandmother caught my eye. She knew, somehow she knew. She gave me the tiniest nod. And I smiled. The pot roast was delicious. I had seconds. 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. I sat there, fork in hand, moving food around my plate while my family celebrated around me. My mother was glowing, actually glowing, like she just orchestrated world peace instead of humiliating her own daughter. My father had that satisfied look he gets when he thinks he's taught someone a valuable lesson. Marcus was quiet but relieved. The tension had passed. The problem child had been handled. They had no idea what was coming. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Katie's text lit up my screen under the table. Outside, black Honda, ready when you are. My heart hammered against my ribs. This was it. The moment of truth. I could feel the spare key in my jacket pocket like it was burning through the fabric, a secret weapon they'd never seen coming. But I wasn't ready to leave yet because walking out wasn't enough anymore. I needed them to understand, to really, truly grasp what they'd done. I set down my fork and looked up. Can I say something? My mother's smile flickered. Of course, honey, we're glad you've calmed down. Calmed down, like I was a toddler who'd thrown a tantrum over the wrong color sippy cup. I want to make sure I understand what just happened here, I said, keeping my voice level, professional. The tone I use at the hospital when I'm explaining something important to a parent who isn't listening. You invited me to family dinner with Grandma specifically to ambush me about my car. You coordinated with Aunt Caroline. You used Marcus's new job as leverage. And W. And I said no, you took my property from me. Is that accurate? My father's expression hardened. We didn't take anything, we're borrowing your key until I agree to give my car to Marcus. Until you remember what it means to be part of this family. I nodded slowly. Right, and what does it mean to be part of this family, Dad? Because from where I'm sitting, it means I work myself to exhaustion, pay my own bills, handle my own problems, and then hand over everything I've earned the second Marcus needs something. Do I have that right? You're twisting this, my mother started. Am I? Because let's talk about what family means. Marcus, how much are Mom and Dad paying for your online classes? He shifted in his seat. That's not. How much? They're covering the tuition, he muttered. Full tuition, and you live here rent-free, and they pay your phone bill, and your car insurance for that car you don't have. What else? My mother's face was turning red. Amber, this isn't appropriate. Food, gas money when you borrow Dad's car, spending money. Should I keep going? I turned to my parents. How much would you say you spend on Marcus monthly, ballpark? Silence. I'll guess between rent he's not paying, food, utilities, tuition, insurance, pocket money, what, $2,000, $3. We're his parents, my father thundered. And you're mine too, my voice cracked and I hated it, hated that I couldn't keep the emotion out. You're my parents too, but when have you ever asked what I need? When have you ever offered to help me? When my car battery died at midnight, I called you and Dad said to call AAA. When I was working doubles to save for a car, did you offer to help? Did you offer anything? My grandmother's voice cut through the tension, soft but firm. They didn't, did they? All eyes turned to her. Jean, my mother started. No, Linda, let me talk. My grandmother set down her napkin with the deliberate care of someone who's made a decision. I've been sitting here listening and I'm ashamed of all of you. Mom, you don't understand the full situation, my father tried. I understand perfectly. You invited Amber here under false pretenses. You ganged up on her. You took her property. Yes, Linda took. Don't argue semantics with me. And you did it thinking you had the moral high ground. She looked at Marcus. And you let them. Marcus's face went pale. Grandma, I didn't ask them to. But you didn't stop them either, did you? The dining room felt like a powder keg. I could see my mother's hands shaking, my father's jaw working. Aunt Caroline looked like she wanted to melt into the floor. And me, I felt something shift inside my chest. Validation. After years of being told I was wrong, too sensitive, too difficult, someone finally saw it. Amber works herself to the bone, my grandmother continued. She put herself through nursing school, she saved for that car, and the first thing you do when she achieves something is try to take it away, for shame. We're trying to teach her about, my mother's voice was shrill now. About what? About knowing her place, about staying small so Marcus can feel big. Direct hit, my mother actually recoiled. My father stood up. That's enough, Mother, I love you, but this is our household, our children, our decision. Then you've decided wrong. The words hung in the air like a guillotine blade. I felt my phone buzz again. Katie, everything okay? Want me to come in? I texted back 5 more minutes. Because I needed to know something, I looked at Marcus directly, really looked at him and asked the question that had been burning in my throat for weeks. Do you even want my car, Marcus? He blinked. What? The car, this job, any of this, is this what you want or what they want for you? For a second, just a second, I saw something flicker across his face. Guilt, shame, maybe even understanding. He looked at our parents, then back at me. I start Monday, I need a way to get there. That's not what I asked. Amber, do you want my car specifically, or would any solution work? He opened his mouth, closed it. Any solution would work, I guess. Then why didn't anyone ask me if I had other ideas? Why go straight to taking my car? No one answered. Because they hadn't wanted a solution, they'd wanted compliance. I stood up, pushing my chair back slowly. I'm going to leave now. You don't have a car, my mother said, and I swear there was smugness in her voice. How exactly do you plan to? I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out the spare key, held it up so it caught the light from the chandelier, silver and damning and absolutely perfect. The look on my mother's face was worth every second of that miserable dinner. I made a spare, I said simply, the first week I had the car just in case. My father's face went purple. You lied. I didn't lie, you didn't ask if I had a spare, you just took the main key and assumed that meant you. I dropped the spare back in my pocket. You know what the saddest part is? If you just asked, if you talked to me like an adult, like someone whose opinion mattered, I might have helped. I might have offered to drive Marcus to work for a week while you figured out a real solution. I might have helped him find a cheap used car or set up a carpool. But you didn't ask, you demanded, you ambushed me, you tried to steal from me. It's not stealing if it's family, Aunt Caroline tried. Yes, Caroline, it literally still is. I looked at my grandmother. I'm sorry, I know you wanted a nice family dinner. She stood up, reaching for her purse. I'm coming with you. Mom, my mother gasped. I came in a cab because you said you'd drive me home, but I think I'd rather ride with Amber. I could have kissed her. My father moved like he was going to block the door. You're both being ridiculous. Sit down, we're not finished. Yes, I said quietly, we are. I walked toward the front door, my grandmother's hand in mine. Behind us, I could hear my mother's voice rising in pitch, my father demanding we come back, Aunt Caroline saying something about everyone just calming down. Marcus said nothing. We stepped out into the cold night air and I took my first full breath in what felt like hours. My car was parked on the street, Katie's black Honda idling behind it. Katie rolled down her window. That looked intense. You okay? I am now. I helped my grandmother toward my car. Katie, this is my grandma Jean. Grandma, my best friend Katie, she's my backup. Smart girl, my grandmother said approvingly. Always have backup. I unlocked my car with the spare key, my spare key for my car, and helped my grandmother into the passenger seat. Through the front window of the house, I could see silhouettes moving, arguing probably, trying to figure out what to do now that their plan had exploded in their faces. Katie leaned out her window. Want me to follow you, make sure you're okay? No, I'm good, thank you for coming, seriously. Always, she grinned. Text me later, I want all the details. She drove off and I walked around to the driver's side of my car. My hand was on the door handle when the front door of the house flew open. Marcus stood there, backlit by the warm interior light, looking smaller somehow, younger. Amber, wait. I paused, didn't turn around. I'm sorry, he called out. God, I'm so sorry, I didn't know they were going to do that, I didn't want them to. I turned slowly, but you let them. I know, and that's on me. He came down the porch steps, stopping a few feet away. You're right about all of it. I've been letting them baby me, letting them fight my battles, and it's made me weak. I see that now. Do you? Yeah, and I'm going to fix it. I'm going to figure out the job thing on my own. Maybe I'll bike there until I can afford a car. Maybe I'll move closer, I don't know yet, but I'm not taking your car. I never should have even considered it. For the first time in weeks, I saw my brother clearly, not as the competition, not as the favorite, but as a kid who'd been smothered by the same parents who'd neglected me. Different prisons, same jailers. Thank you, I said quietly, for saying that. Will you? He hesitated. Will you ever forgive me? I don't know yet, but this is a start. He nodded, looking miserable and relieved all at once. Drive safe. I got in the car, started it with my spare key, felt the engine rumble to life. My grandmother reached over and squeezed my hand. Proud of you, sweetheart, she said softly. I pulled away from the curb, watching the house shrink in my rearview mirror. The house where I'd grown up, where I'd learned I was never quite enough, where tonight I'd finally learned to be enough for myself. Where to, Grandma? Your place, if that's all right. I don't want to go home yet. Let's get ice cream and you can tell me everything I missed. I laughed, real laughter this time, the kind that loosens the tight band around your chest. Deal. We got mint chocolate chip, her favorite, and sat in my tiny apartment, eating it straight from the carton like co-conspirators. I told her everything. About the months of pressure, the phone calls and guilt trips, the way they'd made me feel crazy for wanting to keep what was mine. She listened, really listened, in the way she always had, and when I was done, she said something that stuck with me. Your parents love you, Amber, but they don't know you, and that's their loss, not yours. How do you do it? I asked. How do you not pick favorites? She smiled. Because I don't see you as extensions of your parents, I see you as you. Marcus is finding his way, and that's fine, but you've already found yours. That doesn't make you less deserving of love, it just means you need different things. They'll never see it that way. Maybe not, but you will, and that's what matters. I drove her home an hour later, watched her walk safely into her building, then sat in my car, and let it all sink in. My phone had been buzzing all night, texts from my mother, my father, even Aunt Caroline. I didn't read them, not yet, I wasn't ready. But there was one text I did read from Marcus. I meant what I said. I'm going to do better, you deserved better tonight, you deserved better always. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a dozen text messages. My mother had apparently moved through the stages of grief overnight, denial, anger, bargaining, and landed somewhere around desperate. Amber, please call me. We need to talk about last night. Your father is very upset, we all are. You embarrassed us in front of Caroline and made your grandmother choose sides. This is not how family treats each other. And finally, you owe us an apology. I stared at that last message for a long time, the audacity of it, the sheer, breathtaking audacity. I didn't respond. Instead, I got ready for work. I had a shift starting at noon and tried to mentally prepare myself for whatever fallout was coming, because I knew my parents. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. They'd regroup, they'd strategize, they'd come at this from a different angle, because people like my parents don't admit defeat, they just change tactics. I was right. The first sign came Tuesday morning. I woke up to an email from my mother with the subject line, "Family Meeting Mandatory Attendance." I deleted it without reading. The second sign came that afternoon. My Aunt Caroline showed up at the hospital, actually showed up, found out what unit I worked on, and cornered me during my break in the cafeteria. We need to talk, she said, sliding into the chair across from me. I looked at my sad cafeteria sandwich. I'm on my 15-minute break, Caroline, and I'm spending it not talking to you. 5 minutes, please. Something in her voice made me look up. She looked tired, older than she had at dinner. Fine, 5 minutes. She leaned forward, hands clasped on the table. Your mother called me yesterday. She was distraught. Good. Amber. No, really good, she should be distraught. She tried to steal my car and it backfired spectacularly. Actions, consequences, all that. She feels like you humiliated her. And I feel like she tried to rob me. We all have feelings. Caroline sighed. Look, I know Saturday was poorly handled. Poorly handled? Caroline, they ambushed me, they used Grandma as bait, they tried to strong-arm me into giving up my property. That's not poorly handled. That's calculated manipulation. Your mother thinks she was helping Marcus. Then she can help Marcus by helping Marcus, not by sacrificing me on the altar of his convenience. Is that really how you see it? I leaned back, studying my aunt. She looked genuinely confused, like she truly couldn't understand why I was upset. And that's when I realized she didn't. None of them did, because in their world this was normal. The successful child supports the struggling one, the strong carry the weak, it's just what you do. Except I was tired of being strong so everyone else could be weak. Caroline, let me ask you something, do you have kids? You know I don't. Right? So imagine if you did. Imagine you had 2 kids, one works their ass off, puts themselves through school, saves up, buys something important to them. The other one is struggling, needs help, hasn't quite found their footing. What do you do? She didn't hesitate. You help the one who's struggling. And what about the one who worked hard? What do they get? The satisfaction of helping their sibling. There it was, the problem laid bare and ugly. That's not fair, I said quietly. That's punishing success and rewarding failure. That's teaching Marcus he doesn't have to try because someone will always bail him out, and teaching me that no matter what I achieve, it's not really mine. It belongs to whoever needs it more. Caroline's face shifted. I watched understanding dawn slowly like sunrise over a battlefield. She stopped, started again. I never thought of it that way. No one ever does because it's dressed up as virtue, family, sacrifice, love, but it's not love, Caroline, it's just taking, and I'm done being the one everyone takes from. My break was over. I stood up, grabbing my sandwich. Tell my mother I'm not coming to any family meetings. Tell her I'm not apologizing. And tell her that if she wants a relationship with me going forward, she needs to respect that I'm an adult with boundaries, not a resource to be allocated. I left her sitting there looking stunned. The third sign came Thursday evening. I was home, finally off work, halfway through a bubble bath and a trashy romance novel when someone knocked on my door. I ignored it. They knocked again, harder. Amber, I know you're in there. Your car's out, Sid. My father's voice. I seriously considered staying in the bath and pretending I'd drowned. But knowing my luck, he'd call the cops and I'd end up naked and mortified, wrapped in a towel while explaining to paramedics that no, I wasn't suicidal, just avoiding my dad. I got out, threw on sweats, and opened the door. My father stood in the hallway looking uncomfortable. He hates my apartment, too small, too old, too unsafe for his daughter to be living alone. Never mind that I've lived here for 3 years without incident. Dad, what do you want? To talk. So talk. Can I come in? No. His jaw tightened. He hates being told no. It's physically painful for him. Fine, out here then. He glanced around the hallway like someone might be listening. Your mother is devastated. Okay. That's all you have to say, okay. What do you want me to say, Dad? I'm sorry I wouldn't let you steal my car. I'm sorry I stood up for myself. What's the correct response here? Don't be flippant. I'm not being flippant. I'm asking a genuine question. What response would make this okay for you? He ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. An apology would be a start. For what? For the scene you made, for turning your grandmother against us, for being so selfish about a car, Amber, it's just a car. And there it was, the thing they could never understand. It's not just a car, Dad, it's proof that I can take care of myself, it's freedom, it's mine, I worked for it, I earned it. And you tried to give it away like I wouldn't notice, like my feelings didn't matter, like I was just a problem to solve. You're our daughter. Then treat me like one, see me, ask what I need, what I want, what matters to me, stop deciding who I should be and notice who I am. My voice echoed in the hallway. Somewhere, a neighbor's TV murmured through a wall. My father looked at me like he was seeing a stranger. When did you become so hard? The question hit like a slap. Hard, like it was a bad thing, like surviving on my own, like learning to protect myself, like growing a spine had somehow diminished me. I became this hard, I said slowly, when I realized no one else was going to fight for me, not even my own parents. That's not fair. Isn't it? Name one time in the last 5 years you've asked me what I needed. One time you offered help without me begging for it. One time you celebrated something I did without immediately turning it into a way to benefit Marcus. Silence. You can't, can you? His face was red now, that particular shade that means he's either about to yell or about to leave. I came here to make peace. No, you came here to make me fall in line. There's a difference. He turned to go, then stopped. You're going to regret this, Amber. Family is all you have, and you're throwing it away over pride. I'm not throwing it away. You threw me away years ago. I just finally noticed. He left without another word. I closed the door, locked it, and slid down to sit with my back against it. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. But I didn't cry. I was done crying over people who'd never valued me. Friday was quiet, too quiet. No calls, no texts, no surprise visits. It felt like the eye of a hurricane, that eerie calm before everything goes to hell. I worked a double shift, grateful for the distraction. Sick kids are easier to deal with than family drama. At least with sick kids, you know you're helping, you can see the difference you make. Katie called during my dinner break. So your dad showed up at your apartment. How do you know that? Amber, you sent me a 3-page text rant at 11 p.m. I'm just now fully recovered. I winced, sorry, I was spiraling. Don't apologize, I'm impressed you waited until after he left to text me. Shows growth. She paused. But seriously, are you okay? I think so, I don't know. Is it normal to feel guilty for not feeling guilty? When dealing with manipulative family members who have conditioned you to accept their bad behavior, absolutely. You should have been a therapist. I'm too judgmental, I'd lose my license immediately. She laughed, then turned serious. Listen, I'm proud of you, I know it doesn't feel like it, but what you did Saturday, standing your ground, that took guts. It felt more like survival. Same thing sometimes. We talked for a few more minutes before I had to get back to work, but her words stuck with me. Survival, maybe that's what this was, not a war, not a rebellion, just survival. The storm hit Saturday morning. I woke up to 47 text messages in the family group chat, the one I'd been ignoring all week. Morbid curiosity made me open it. Big mistake. It was a massacre. My mother had apparently decided that if I wouldn't respond to direct communication, she'd air everything publicly. Every grievance, every perceived slight, every way I'd supposedly failed as a daughter, a sister, a family member. She'd spent hours typing it out, mess. Age after message, building her case. Amber has always been difficult. She moved out the second she turned 19, like she couldn't wait to leave. We helped her with college, and this is how she repays us. She's turning Jean against us. She's setting a terrible example for Marcus. And the finale, maybe we should have been harder on her when she was younger. This is what happens when you give children too much freedom. Too much freedom, I almost laughed. But what really got me, what really truly hurt, was Marcus's response. Or lack thereof. He hadn't said a word, not in my defense, not in agreement with Mom, just nothing, radio silence. After his apology, after his promise to do better. Nothing. I was staring at my phone, hands shaking with rage and hurt and something that felt dangerously close to grief, when another text came through. Private this time, from a number I didn't recognize. Amber, this is your grandmother. Caroline helped me with the group text thing and I saw what your mother wrote. I'm appalled. Please call me when you can. I called immediately. Grandma. Sweetheart? Her voice was firm, steady. I want you to know that I responded to that attack. I told your mother exactly what I thought of her behavior. I won't repeat it here because I'm a lady, but suffice to say, she won't be hearing from me for a while. Something in my chest loosened. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. Someone needs to tell her the truth. She's so busy being right that she can't see she's losing you, and if she's not careful, she's going to lose me too. I don't want to cause problems between you and... You didn't cause anything, Amber, she did. Your mother has always had a blind spot when it comes to Marcus. I love that boy, but she's crippled him by never letting him struggle. And she's hurt you by expecting you to be perfect without any support. That's not okay, it's never been okay. I sat down on my couch, phone pressed to my ear, and let myself feel it. The validation, the relief, the overwhelming gratitude of being seen. Thank you, I whispered. Don't thank me for basic decency. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to block that family group chat, you're going to take some space, and you're going to remember that you are not responsible for their feelings. You hear me? I hear you. Good, I love you, sweetheart, so much, and I'm proud of the woman you've become, even if your parents can't see it yet. We hung up and I did exactly what she said. I blocked the family group chat, I blocked my mother's number, I blocked my father's. Marcus I left unblocked, a tiny olive branch in case he ever found his voice. Then I sat in my quiet apartment in my space that I'd earned, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. The final blow came Sunday afternoon. I was grocery shopping, exciting life, I know, when I ran into someone I never expected to see. My mother. She was in the produce section examining avocados with the intensity of a surgeon. She looked up, saw me, and her face went through a rapid-fire sequence of emotions: surprise, hope, anger, hurt. We stood there, frozen, while shoppers pushed carts around us like we were rocks in a stream. "Amber," she finally said. "Mom, you blocked me." "I did." That's incredibly hurtful." I picked up a bunch of bananas, examined them, put them in my cart. So are 47 text messages telling everyone what a terrible daughter I am. I was upset. So was I. Difference is, I kept it private. She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Can we talk, please, really talk?" I wanted to say no, wanted to push past her and finish my shopping and go home to my car and my apartment and my life that didn't include this constant emotional warfare. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the way her hands were shaking. Maybe it was the dark circles under her eyes. Maybe it was just the last dying ember of hope that we could fix this. 5 minutes, I said, outside. We left our carts, mine with bananas, hers with rejected avocados, and walked out to the parking lot. The day was gray and cold, threatening rain. My mother wrapped her coat tighter. "I owe you an apology." I waited. Saturday it was wrong the way we approached it, taking your key, all of it. We should have talked to you first, asked instead of demanded. She looked at me, really looked at me. "You're right, we haven't been fair to you. We've expected you to be the strong one, the one who doesn't need help, and that wasn't fair." It was the closest thing to accountability I'd ever heard from her, and it should have felt good. But it didn't, because something was missing. "Why?" I asked. "Why what? Why did you do it? Why take my car? Why not help Marcus yourselves? Why me?" She looked away. "Because you're capable, because you always land on your feet, because Marcus—" She stopped, struggling. "Because Marcus is your favorite," I finished quietly. "No. Mom, please, we bought. No, it's true." Her face crumpled. "It's not that he's my favorite, it's that he's fragile, he always has been, and you've always been so strong, Amber. Even as a little girl, you didn't need us the way he did. You figured things out on your own, you didn't cry when you scraped your knee, you didn't call us from college feeling homesick, you just kept going. So you decided I didn't need you at all. We decided you didn't need us as much." And there it was, the logic that had shaped my entire childhood. The reason I'd always felt like an afterthought. They'd mistaken independence for not needing love. They'd confused strength with not deserving support. "I did need you," I said, my voice breaking despite my best efforts. "I needed you at midnight when my battery died. I needed you to celebrate when I bought my car. I needed you to be proud of me, not just neutral about my accomplishments while throwing parades for Marcus's attempts. I needed parents, Mom, not judges deciding if I'd earned attention." She was crying now, silent tears tracking through her makeup. "I didn't know. You never asked." "I'm asking now, what do you need, Amber? Tell me, please." I looked at her, this woman who'd raised me, who'd fed me and clothed me and kept me alive, but who'd somehow forgotten to see me, and I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the beginning of it. "I need space," I said finally. "I need time to figure out who I am without constantly defending myself. I need you to respect my boundaries without taking it as a personal attack. And I need you to let Marcus struggle. Let him figure out his own transportation, his own life. Stop sacrificing me to save him." She nodded, wiping her eyes. Okay, I can do that." "Can you?" I'll try, I'll really try." We stood there in the parking lot, two women shaped by the same family but living in different worlds. The rain started, light drops that felt like punctuation. "I should go," I said. Will you call sometime when you're ready?" "Maybe, probably, I don't know yet." She reached out like she wanted to hug me, then stopped, uncertain. I made the decision for both of us and stepped into her arms. She held me tight, shaking, and whispered against my hair, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." I didn't say it was okay, because it wasn't, not yet. But I said, "I know." And for now, that was enough. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of silence from my parents, broken only by occasional texts from my mother, nothing demanding, just small things. Thinking of you, or hope work is going well, I responded sometimes. Short, polite, building a bridge one careful word at a time. Marcus texted more often, pictures of him on a bike, turns out he'd bought a used one off Craigslist. Updates about the coffee shop job, made my first latte art today, it looks like a blob but the customer said it was a heart so I'm calling it a win. I didn't respond much, but I didn't block him either. My grandmother called every few days, we'd talk about everything and nothing, her book club, my patients, the weather, normal things, easy things. She never mentioned the dinner, never pushed me to reconcile. She just loved me simply and completely the way I'd always needed. Katie kept me sane. We had wine nights where I processed everything, where she let me rage and cry and laugh at the absurdity of it all. Your family, she said one night, 3 glasses deep into a cheap Pinot Grigio, would make an incredible reality show. I'm talking Emmy-worthy drama. Please don't give them ideas, my mother would actually love that. The Real Housewives of Dysfunction. Keeping up with the manipulation. We dissolved into giggles, and for a moment, everything felt normal again. But underneath the routine, the jokes, the healing, there was a question I couldn't escape. What now? I'd set boundaries, I'd stood my ground, I'd won in a way, I still had my car, my independence, my self-respect. But I'd also fractured my family, maybe permanently. And late at night, when the apartment was too quiet and my thoughts too loud, I wondered if I'd made the right choice. Was keeping my car worth losing my family? The answer should have been obvious. They'd tried to steal from me, they'd disrespected me, they'd shown their true colors. But they were still my parents, still my brother, and some traitorous part of my heart still wanted them to love me the way they loved Marcus. I was wrestling with these thoughts on a Tuesday evening, 3.5 weeks after the dinner, when someone knocked on my door. My first thought was, not again. My second thought was, if it's my father, I'm pretending I moved. I checked the peephole. Marcus. He stood in the hallway looking nervous, holding something I couldn't quite make out. His hair was wet from the rain that had started an hour ago, and he was shifting from foot to foot like he was ready to bolt. I opened the door. Hey, he said. Hey. Can I come in? I promise I'm not here to ambush you or take anything, or I just want to talk. 5 minutes, please. I stepped aside. He walked in, dripping slightly on my floor, and I gestured to the couch. He sat. I stayed standing, arms crossed, defense position. Nice place, he said, looking around. You've never been here before. I know, I should have visited, I'm sorry. I didn't respond, just waited. He set down what he'd been holding, an envelope, thick and cream-colored. I wanted to give you this in person, and I wanted to say some things I should have said weeks ago. Okay. He took a deep breath. I've been thinking a lot since that dinner about everything you said, about how Mom and Dad treat us differently, about how I've let them baby me, about how I let them try to take your car without really standing up for you. He looked at me, eyes red-rimmed. You were right about all of it, and I'm ashamed it took me this long to see it. Marcus. No, please, let me finish. He rubbed his face. I got the job at the coffee shop. I've been biking there every day, 4 miles each way, and you know what? It's been good for me, hard but good. I'm tired at the end of the day, but it's a different kind of tired, like I earned it, you know. I nodded slowly, uncrossing my arms. And I've been saving money, not much but some, and I've been thinking about moving out, getting my own place, figuring out who I am when I'm not living in Mom and Dad's house, playing by their rules, letting them make decisions for me. He smiled weakly. I want to be more like you. Something in my chest tightened. I'm not that special, Marcus. Yes, you are. You've been taking care of yourself since you were 19. You put yourself through nursing school. You saved up and bought a car. You stand up for yourself even when it's hard, even when everyone's against you. His voice cracked. You're the strongest person I know, Amber, and I'm sorry I never told you that before. I sat down then because my legs suddenly felt unreliable. You really mean that? Every word. He picked up the envelope, held it out to me. This is for you. I took it, confused. Inside were bills, cash neatly folded, a lot of it. I counted quickly, $500. What is this? It's not much, but it's what I've saved so far from the job. He swallowed hard. I wanted to pay you back. Pay me back for what? For everything, for the years Mom and Dad spent money on me that they could have spent on you, for all the times they chose me over you, for that dinner, for your car, for all of it. I know $500 doesn't even come close to evening things out, but it's a start, and I'll give you more as I save it, I promise. I stared at the money in my hands, then at my brother, and felt something break open inside me. Not pain this time, something else, something warm and healing and absolutely unexpected. Marcus, you don't owe me money. Yes, I do. No, you don't. I put the envelope on the coffee table between us. You owe me respect, you owe me the truth, you owe me standing up for me when everyone else is tearing me down, but you don't owe me money for Mom and Dad's choices. But they chose me because they made bad decisions. That's on them, not you. I leaned forward. You were a kid, Marcus. You didn't ask them to favor you. You didn't ask them to sacrifice me for your comfort. They did that on their own. And yeah, you benefited from it, but that doesn't make it your fault. He was crying now, silent tears that he wiped away with the heel of his hand. I should have stopped them. At dinner, I should have said no. Yeah, you should have, and the fact that you're here now saying this, admitting that matters. I picked up the envelope, held it out to him. Keep your money, save it for your own place, build your own life. That's the best thing you can do for both of us. Are you sure? I'm sure. He took the envelope back, clutching it like a lifeline. I miss you, I miss my sister, and I know I don't have any right to ask, but do you think we could start over, not pretend the past didn't happen, but just try to build something new, something that's just us, not Mom and Dad's version of us? I looked at my brother, really looked at him, and saw someone I'd never quite seen before. Not the golden child, not the favorite, not the competitor, just Marcus, flawed and trying and finally growing up. Yeah, I said softly, I think we could try that. He smiled, real and genuine, and stood up. I should go, I have an early shift tomorrow, but thank you for hearing me out, for giving me a chance. I walked him to the door. On impulse, I hugged him. He stiffened in surprise, then hugged back, tight and desperate. I love you, Amber, he whispered. I should say that more. I love you too. He left and I closed the door, leaning against it. The apartment felt different somehow. Lighter, like a weight I didn't know I'd been carrying had finally lifted. My phone buzzed, a text from Marcus. Also, your apartment is way nicer than mine. I mean Mom and Dad's, you know what I mean. I'm rambling, thanks again. I smiled and texted back, anytime, little brother. The next major development came Friday evening. I was off work, halfway through a very important date with Netflix and leftover Thai food when my phone rang. My mother. I'd unblocked her number 2 weeks ago during a moment of optimistic weakness. Now I stared at her name on the screen, debating. On the 4th ring, I answered. Hello. Amber, hi, is this a bad time? I'm not busy. Oh, good. She sounded nervous, which was unusual. My mother was many things, but uncertain wasn't typically one of them. I was wondering if you'd be willing to meet me for coffee tomorrow. Just us. No ambushes, I promise, just a conversation. Every instinct screamed trap, but something else, maybe curiosity, maybe hope, made me say, what time? 10 at that cafe near the park, the one you used to like. She remembered that I used to go there, that I liked it. Small thing, but it registered. Okay, 10. Thank you, Amber, really, thank you. We hung up and I immediately called Katie. She wants to meet for coffee. Oh God, are we doing this again? Apparently. Want me to come? I'll sit at a nearby table and pretend to read. I'll be your emotional support spy. I laughed despite my nerves. No, I think I need to do this alone, but keep your phone on. If I send you the eggplant emoji, it means she's being crazy and you need to call me with a fake emergency. Eggplant emoji, got it. Why eggplant? Because it's the last thing she'd expect, and I find that hilarious. You're weird, I love you. Love you too. Saturday morning arrived, gray and cold, autumn bleeding into winter. I dressed carefully, jeans, a sweater, my nice coat, armor but comfortable armor. I drove to the cafe in my car, my beautiful car that I'd fought for and kept, and felt a surge of pride every time I pressed the accelerator. My mother was already there at a corner table, 2 cups of coffee waiting. She'd ordered for me vanilla latte, my favorite, another small thing, another remembered detail. "Hi," she said as I sat down. "Hi." For a moment we just looked at each other, 2 women connected by blood and history and wounds that were just starting to scab over. "Thank you for coming," she said finally. "I wasn't sure you would." "I almost didn't." "Fair enough." She wrapped her hands around her coffee cup. "I've been doing a lot of thinking since we talked in that parking lot about everything you said about how we've treated you." I waited, sipping my latte, letting her lead. "I talked to a therapist," she continued, and my eyebrows shot up. "I know, trust me, I'm as surprised as you are. Your father thinks it's silly, but I needed to talk to someone who wasn't family, who could be objective." She looked at me. She helped me see some things I didn't want to see. "Like what?" "Like the fact that I've been treating you and Marcus differently our entire lives. Like the fact that I've expected you to be perfect while giving him endless chances to fail. Like the fact that I've taken your strength for granted and mistaken it for not needing love." Her voice wavered. "She said I've been parentifying you, making you the adult, the caretaker, while keeping Marcus as the child. And she said it's not fair and it's probably damaged you in ways I can't even see." I set down my cup carefully. "It has." "I know, I'm starting to know." She took a shaky breath. "I don't have an excuse, Amber, not a good one. When you were little, you were so capable, so independent. You'd figure things out on your own, never asked for help, and Marcus he needed us constantly, still needs us. And somewhere along the way I stopped checking if you needed us too. I assumed you were fine. I assumed you didn't want us involved in your life because you'd pulled away. I pulled away because you never reached for me." I see that now. Tears spilled over, tracking through her foundation. "I failed you, Amber. As a mother, I failed you, and I'm so sorry." I'd imagined this moment 1,000 times, my mother apologizing, really apologizing, taking accountability. In some versions I was gracious, forgiving immediately. In others I was cold, making her suffer. In most, I cried. But now that it was happening, I felt strangely calm. "Thank you," I said quietly, "for saying that, for seeing it." "Is there," she hesitated, "is there any way we can fix this? I know it won't happen overnight. I know I have to earn your trust back, but I want to try, Amber. I want to be better. I want to be the mother you deserved." I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw something I'd never seen before. Vulnerability, genuine remorse, a crack in the perfect facade she'd maintained my NT. "Ray life. I don't know if we can fix it," I said honestly, "but I'm willing to try under some conditions." "Anything." "First, no more treating me like a resource. I'm not a backup plan or a solution to Marcus's problems. I'm your daughter. Treat me like one." "Done." "Second, respect my boundaries. If I say no, that's a complete sentence. No guilt trips, no manipulation, no enlisting other family members to change my mind." "Okay." "Third, therapy for both of us together, because I don't think we can rebuild this on our own." She nodded, wiping her eyes. "I'll set it up, whatever you want." "And fourth," I paused, making sure she was listening, "you need to let Marcus go, stop coddling him, stop fighting his battles, let him grow up. Because what you're doing isn't love, Mom, it's control, and it's hurting him as much as it hurt me." That one landed hard. I watched her flinch, watched her maternal instincts war with the truth. "That's going to be the hardest one," she admitted. "I know, but it's necessary for everyone." We sat in silence, drinking our coffee, letting the weight of the conversation settle. Around us, the cafe hummed with normal Saturday activity, people laughing, studying, living their uncomplicated lives. "Marcus came to see me," I said eventually, "earlier this week." Her head snapped up. "He did." "Yeah, he apologized, really apologized. And he's doing well, Mom. The job, the bike, figuring things out. You should be proud of him, not for doing what you want, but for doing what he needs." Something shifted in her expression, surprise, maybe pride, maybe fear at the thought of her baby growing up. "I am proud of him," she said softly. "And I'm proud of you. I don't say that enough. I don't say it at all, really. But I'm so proud of the woman you've become, even though I can't take much credit for it." "You take some credit. You kept me alive to 18, that's not nothing." She laughed, watery but real. "Low bar, but I'll take it." We talked for another hour, not about the big things, just normal things, my work, her garden, grandmother's latest book club drama, building something new from the rubble of what we'd broken. When we finally left, she hugged me at the door, not the aggressive, wrestling hold hugs she usually gave, but something gentler, asking permission instead of taking. "Thank you for giving me another chance," she whispered. "Don't waste it," I said, but I was smiling. Therapy started 2 weeks later. My mother kept her promise. She found a family therapist who specialized in adult child-parent relationships, and we met every Thursday evening. It was brutal. Not in a dramatic, explosive way, but in the slow, painful excavation of decades of dysfunction. We talked about my childhood, about Marcus, about the ways they'd shown love to him but only expectation to me. My mother cried a lot, I cried a little. The therapist, Dr. Chen, a tiny woman with an alarming ability to see through bullshit, guided us through it with patience I didn't know existed. "Amber," she said during our third session, "I notice you apologize a lot, even for things that aren't your fault. Why is that?" I blinked. "Do I? You've said sorry 4 times in the last 20 minutes, for arriving exactly on time, for your phone buzzing once, for disagreeing with your mother, for existing, essentially." My mother looked stricken. "I never noticed that." "That's the problem," Dr. Chen said gently. "Amber learned early that her needs were secondary, that taking up space required an apology, so she's been apologizing for existing her whole life." The room went very quiet. "Amber," Dr. Chen continued, "I want you to try something. Go 1 week without apologizing unless you've genuinely done something wrong. Can you do that?" "That sounds really hard." "It will be, but necessary." That week was torture. I caught myself about to apologize for everything, being in someone's way at the grocery store, asking a question at work, existing in general. Each time I had to physically stop myself, swallow the sorry, and just be. It felt wrong, selfish, rude. But Dr. Chen said that meant it was working. My mother, for her part, was trying, really trying. She called once a week now, not to ask for anything, just to talk. She remembered details about my life, asked about my patients, celebrated my small victories. When I told her I'd gotten a commendation at work, she actually cried happy tears. "I'm so proud of you," she said. And for the first time in my life, I believed her. Marcus was thriving. He'd moved out of my parents' house into a tiny studio apartment, questionable plumbing, but it was his. He'd been promoted to shift supervisor at the coffee shop. He'd even started taking online classes again, business management this time, paying for them himself. We texted regularly now, stupid memes, random updates, sibling banter I'd never thought we'd have. He came over for dinner once, bringing wine and apologies. We're being late, his bike got a flat tire. "This place is great," he said, looking around my apartment like it was a palace. "Thanks, it's small, but it's mine." "That's the best kind." He helped me chop vegetables for stir-fry. "Mom seems different lately, have you noticed?" "Yeah, we're doing therapy together." His knife paused mid-chop. "Really? Really, it's helping slowly but still." "That's, wow, good for you and her," he resumed chopping. "She's backed off a lot with me too, keeps asking if I need money, then stopping herself and saying I need to figure it out on my own. It's weird, but good weird." "Character development," I said. "For all of us." We ate dinner talking about nothing important, movies, work, gossip, whether pineapple on pizza was a crime. It is, fight me, normal sibling stuff. The kind I'd always wanted but never thought we'd have. As he was leaving, he turned at the door. "Hey, Amber." "Yes. I like this, us being actual siblings instead of competitors." "Me too. Let's keep doing it." "Deal." After he left, I cleaned up dinner, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time regarding my family. Hope. The real test came at Thanksgiving. My mother called 6 weeks before, voice tentative. "I'm planning Thanksgiving dinner. I know it's early, but I wanted to ask, would you come? No pressure. If you're not ready, I understand, but I'd really love to have you there." "Who else is coming?" "Your father, Marcus, Grandma Jean, Aunt Caroline if she's in town. Small, simple, no agendas." "No ambushes." "No ambushes, I promise, Amber, just family dinner, that's all." I thought about it, discussed it with Katie, with Dr. Chen, with myself in the mirror at 2 a.m. when I couldn't sleep. Finally, I called her back. I'll come, but I'm driving myself, and if anything feels wrong, I'm leaving. No guilt trips. Absolutely, thank you, sweetheart, this means everything. Thanksgiving Day arrived cold and bright. I dressed in layers, easier to make a quick exit, and put my spare key in my pocket, just in case. Old habits. The drive to my parents' house felt different this time, not dread in my stomach but cautious optimism. Things weren't perfect, they might never be perfect, but they were better, and better was something. I parked on the street again, still keeping my exit strategy, and walked up to the house. The cornucopia wreath had been replaced with a turkey, and I could smell roasting bird from outside. My mother answered the door immediately. "You came." I said I would. "I know, but I was still nervous." She hugged me gentle, asking permission, and I hugged back. The house was warm, smelling like tradition and second chances. Marcus was setting the table. My father was in his chair reading the paper. My grandmother was in the kitchen supervising the gravy. "Amber," she rushed over, pulling me into her arms. "My girl, how are you?" "Good, Grandma, really good." My father looked up from his paper. We made eye contact. Something passed between us, not reconciliation, not yet, but acknowledgement. He nodded. I nodded back. It was a start. Dinner was surprisingly normal. We passed dishes, made polite conversation, avoided landmines. My mother asked about my work and actually listened to my answer. My father complimented the stuffing Marcus had made. Marcus had contributed, which was new. I told a funny story about a patient, and everyone laughed. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward pauses, moments of tension when old patterns tried to resurface, but we navigated them consciously and carefully, like people learning a new dance. After dinner, while we were clearing plates, my mother caught my arm. "Can we talk just for a minute?" We stepped out onto the back deck, into the cold evening air. "I wanted to give you something," she said, pulling an envelope from her apron pocket. "Oh no, not again." But when I opened it, it wasn't demands or guilt. It was a card, simple, handmade, inside in my mother's careful handwriting. "Amber, thank you for giving me another chance. Thank you for your patience as I learned to be better. Thank you for being strong enough to set boundaries even when it hurt. I'm proud of you. I should have said it years ago. I should say it more now. I love you, not for what you can do or who you can be, just for being you. Love, Mom." I read it twice, 3 times, feeling something hot and tight in my throat. "I mean it," my mother said softly. "Every word. I know I have a long way to go. I know one card doesn't fix everything. But I wanted you to know I see you now, Amber, and I'm so grateful you're my daughter." The tears came then, hot and fast and healing. I let them fall. "Thank you," I whispered. She pulled me into a hug, and this time I melted into it. Not because I had to, not because it was expected, but because I wanted to. Because maybe, finally, we were getting somewhere. We went back inside to find my father and Marcus engaged in what appeared to be an intense debate. Out football, my grandmother caught my eye and winked. "Everything okay?" she mouthed. I nodded. "Better than okay." We spent the rest of the evening playing board games, my grandmother's idea, and eating too much pie. Marcus tried to cheat at Scrabble and got called out. My father told a terrible dad joke. My mother laughed so hard she snorted. It was messy and imperfect and absolutely, beautifully normal. Around 10, I said my goodbyes. Marcus walked me to my car. "This was nice," he said. "Yeah, it really was. Think we can do it again, Christmas maybe." I looked back at the house, warm and lit against the dark November sky. Inside, our family, broken and rebuilding, flawed and trying. "Yeah," I said, "I think we can." He hugged me tight. "Drive safe, text me when you get home." "I will." I got in my car that I'd fought for, that represented everything I'd become, and drove home through the quiet streets. Not running away this time, just going home after dinner with family. Like a normal person. Like someone who was finally at peace. 6 months later, I was sitting in my apartment on a Saturday morning, drinking coffee and reading, when someone knocked on my door. I opened it to find my father standing there, looking uncomfortable and determined all at once. Dad, this is a surprise. I should have called. I'm sorry for just showing up. It's okay, come in. He walked in slowly, looking around like he was seeing it for the first time, which, to be fair, he kind of was. He'd never visited before, not once in the 3 years I'd lived here. Nice place, he said finally. Thanks, coffee. Sure. I poured him a cup and we sat at my small kitchen table, the silence stretched, awkward and heavy. I owe you an apology, he said finally. A real one, not the half-hearted one I gave months ago, a real, actual apology for how I treated you. I set down my coffee cup. Okay. I've been thinking a lot since that dinner, since you stood up to us, since your mother started therapy, since Marcus moved out. He looked at me, really looked at me. I've been thinking about what kind of father I've been, and I don't like the answer. Dad, please let me finish. He took a breath. I was harder on you because you were capable, because you were responsible, because I knew you'd be okay, and I was easier on Marcus because he needed more help. At least that's what I told myself, but what I really did was take you for granted. I expected you to be perfect while accepting mediocrity from him. And that wasn't fair, it wasn't right. And it damaged our relationship in ways I'm only starting to understand. I felt tears prickling but pushed them back. Why are you telling me this now? Because I'm tired of being a coward, because your mother's been doing the work to fix things and I've been hiding behind my newspaper pretending everything's fine, because you deserve better from me. His voice cracked. You deserved better all along. The tears fell then, I couldn't stop them. I don't need you to be perfect, Dad. I never did. I just needed you to see me, to be proud of me, to show up when I needed you. I know, and I'm sorry I didn't. I'm sorry it took losing you for me to realize what I had. He reached across the table, tentative, and took my hand. Can we start over, not erase the past, but build something new? I want to know you, Amber, the real you, not the daughter I expected you to be, but the woman you are. I squeezed his hand, feeling decades of hurt and anger and longing compress into this single moment. Yeah, Dad, we can try. He smiled, genuine and relieved. Thank you, and for what it's worth, I'm incredibly proud of you. The way you stood up for yourself, the boundaries you set, the person you've become despite our failures. You're remarkable, Amber. I should have told you that every day of your life. You're telling me now, that counts for something. We talked for another hour, really talked about my work, my life, my dreams. He asked questions and listened to the answers. He told me about his own childhood, his own struggles with his parents. We found common ground I never knew existed. When he left, he hugged me at the door, the first real hug we'd had in years. I love you, Amber. I love you too, Dad. After he left, I stood in my apartment feeling lighter than I had in years, not because everything was fixed, it wasn't. There would be setbacks, difficult conversations, old patterns trying to resurface. But we were trying, all of us, trying to be better, to do better, to build something real from the wreckage of what we'd been. And that was enough. 1 year after the dinner that changed everything, my family gathered again, not for a holiday, not for an occasion, just because my mother wanted to have everyone over. We were all there, my parents, Marcus, grandmother Jean, even Aunt Caroline, who'd apologized months ago for her part in the ambush. Katie was there too, because she'd become as much family as anyone blood-related. We grilled burgers in the backyard, played cornhole, told stories and laughed until our sides hurt. Marcus showed us pictures of his new apartment, a one-bedroom this time with actual working plumbing. My parents beamed with genuine pride. My mother pulled me aside at one point. Look at them, she said, gesturing to Marcus and my father arguing playfully over the grill. Look at us, we did this, we fixed this. We're still working on it, I corrected gently, but yeah, we're getting there. I never thought we would. After that dinner, I thought I'd lost you forever. You almost did. I know, she squeezed my hand. Thank you for not giving up on us, even when we'd given up on ourselves. I looked around at my family, messy, imperfect, human, learning, growing, trying. Thanks for not giving up on me, I said. That evening, as the sun set and the fireflies came out, I sat in a lawn chair between my brother and my best friend, watching my parents dance to old music from their phone, and felt something I'd been chasing my whole life. Belonging. Not the conditional kind, not the earn it every day kind, just belonging, being part of something, being seen, being loved for exactly who I was. My car, the thing that had started all of this, was parked in the driveway. Mine, earned, fought for, kept. But it wasn't about the car anymore, it never really had been. It was about standing up for myself, about recognizing my worth, about refusing to accept less than I deserved, even from people I loved. It was about learning that sometimes the people who love you most are the ones who hurt you worst, and that's not because they're evil but because they're human, flawed and trying just like everyone else. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, if everyone's willing to do the work, willing to be vulnerable, willing to change, things can get better. Not perfect, never perfect. But better. And better is pretty damn good. Later that night, after everyone had gone home, I sat in my car before driving back to my apartment. I ran my hands over the steering wheel, remembered that dinner a year ago, remembered the rage and humiliation and the spare key burning in my pocket. My phone buzzed, a text from Marcus, "Thanks for today, love you sis." Another from my mother, "So grateful for you, sweet dreams." One from Katie, "Your family is still weird but I like them now, growth." And finally one from my father, "Proud of you, always have been even when I didn't say it, love, Dad." I read them all, feeling warmth spread through my chest. Then I started the car, my car that had become a symbol of so much more than transportation, and drove home. Not running away, not escaping, just going home after a good day with family. Because sometimes the biggest battles we fight aren't against other people, they're against the versions of ourselves who accept less than we deserve, the versions who apologize for existing, the versions who stay small to make others comfortable. My parents took my car keys at dinner. But they forgot the spare key was with me. And that spare key, that backup plan, that insurance policy, that final piece of independence, taught them something they needed to learn. I wasn't the little girl who needed them to survive anymore. I wasn't the teenager desperate for approval. I wasn't even the young adult fighting for scraps of attention. I was Amber, 24 years old, pediatric nurse, car owner, boundary setter, sister, daughter, woman who knew her worth. And no one, not even the people I loved most, could take that away from me. Because the most important key isn't the one that starts your car. It's the one that unlocks your self-respect. And once you find that key, hold on to it tight. Because it's the one thing you should never, ever give away.